because of that trash audit, I managed to get my monthly waste from 70 to 7.
70 to 7, did you say?
Yeah.
7? Wow. How did you do that? Hey, Pragya, it's so nice to chat with you again.
Thank you for having me, Mansi. So good to be back.
It was that moment when I measured how much trash that we actually produce. And, when I get all these gifts and hampers, I'm like, plastic kitna ja raha hai? Like, why couldn't they wrap this better? Or, all of that. And I feel like, one of the first videos I saw on this was, trash in a jar. You
Yeah.
ever, and that got me really, I think that's the one that hits you the hardest, right? Do you evaluate or do you do your trash audit?
I did that initially when I started off because I just wanted to understand that what is it, how much are we actually using and what are we using, what are we buying? I had no idea.
Yeah.
If I remember right, I think the first month that I measured only my recyclable waste, it had come up to some 60 or 70 kilos, which is a lot.
Wow.
We are a family of four, but of course there is, I have my house help and there are other people living here as well, but it's a lot. And I realized that once I started segregating my waste, because all of a sudden you had, your wet waste going separately, my plastic was going separately, all your glass, paper, metal, everything was just going separately. And that's when I realized what we are actually buying. And that's when I realized, okay, this is what I can reduce on. This is what I have to, find solutions for. And these are things that I can't, do anything about right now. And because of that trash audit, I managed to get my monthly waste down to 7 kilos, my recyclable waste. So from 70 to 7, that was the
70 to 7, did you say?
yeah.
7? Wow. How did you do that?
By just auditing my waste, just looking into my bin and saying, what am I throwing? That's all I did. I was like, I don't need to buy my vegetable wrapped in plastic. I don't need to buy my, groceries, your dal, your chawals in plastic wrappers. In India, it's all available, khula. So then I just shifted my way of buying. Everything that I would buy, I would make sure that it came in paper initially. So then my plastic waste really reduced, but then my paper waste just increased because
Yeah.
now all of a sudden everything comes paper. I'm like, okay, wait, I'm doing something wrong. This is not working. Let me
Right.
try again. I spoke to my vegetable vendor and I told them that, you know what, I'm going to give you some cloth bags and you use that for me. So whenever you're sending something to my house, use these. And whenever you give me, I'll give you fresh ones back. And we started that process. My chicken, which normally would come in these plastic bags, I started sending steel dabbas. So it would come in that. So doing these small changes, very easy changes, yeah, just reduced it so drastically. And then I realized, like how you were talking about that little jar that people are filling, and I'm like, it seems like it's a task and it seems very difficult to achieve, but it's actually not. We
Right.
just have to be smart about it. It feels a little daunting that, oh God, I will never ever be able to do that. I felt that at one point. But now, I mean, we are a family of four people, and our waste has come down to so drastically, And it's only because of these small measures that you take in your daily life.
That brings me to my next question, which is, when you say segregation, it just sounds like बहुत time लगने वाला है. Like, chuck it. I really care for it. But is it time consuming and is there a method to it?
It might feel a little time consuming initially because not only do you have to change your behavior, but you have to change your family's behavior as well, right? And as much as you can control yourself, it's really tough to do that with other people. And, you'll have to
Yeah.
constantly correct them and, get them used to making sure that they segregate their waste, making sure that, they are not throwing it in any bin or, being irresponsible about it. But I feel once that pattern is set, it's really simple. It's just I have three dustbins. You choose depending on what it is. You throw it accordingly, right? So we have our wet waste, we have one for dry waste, and then we have one which will go to the garbage truck if there's anything. So that one, the last one normally is very less. There's barely anything that goes into that
How do you manage with the toys, and how do you end up discarding them and understanding what the end result, where is this going to end up in? Like, how do you portion that part of
Um,
parent?
so that's also like it's been an evolution of its own of sort, because I had a similar problem which you had, which is you have these huge birthday parties and everyone is giving you gifts, and then you have wardrobes filled with only gifts, and you don't know what to do with it, because
Yeah.
you cannot even take out the amount of gifts and give it to your child, because of, I mean, it's just bad for your kids to just have like abundance of things and don't know what to use and how to use it. It's not something a parent would consciously do, right? So we normally just keep it away. And with time, one after the other, we kept opening the gifts. And by the time the cupboard was empty, there was a birthday again. And then again, it got filled up, right? So, I mean, that was the pattern we had. And I'm like, it just takes up so much space. And you don't know what to do with it. And at the same time, now you have two kids. So I've got two birthday parties. Now there's a double amount where you need to bring
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
keep the toys, right? Once I realized that this is just ridiculous, and that's my point of view, that's my opinion, I stopped. I told everyone that I don't want any gifts for my children. You want to give anything, you can either donate it to these NGOs and you can give them, but please don't gift me anything. And I'm sorry, I will also not gift your child anything.
Yeah.
We are going to just plant some trees and I'll inform you whenever we it's done, and that's what we give. And I will not give any return gift, because I just think, and these are my beliefs, that when you have a exchange between children, which is about which is not an emotional exchange, it's an item that is being exchanged, you are putting so much focus on who got what
Yeah.
and the feeling behind that, rather than the emotional connect between two people. Like, hey, I've come for your birthday party, it's about you. It doesn't matter what toy I got or who got or what you gave me. We are friends, and that's why I'm here. I've come to celebrate you. Actually, what's happening now is that my children, they make their own toys. So they'll find stuff sometime even out of the recycling bin, and they'll make some toy and they use that. And
Never pressure of a trending toy like the puppet or the pipes and all of that that's going on. There's just never any pressure.
see, they have never been to toy stores. So they know there is something like a toy store because they've seen it on television. But since the age, I mean, since my younger one has never been, but my older one must have been till the age of 2. After, they've never been to a physical toy store. So sometimes what happens is that they'll see something at a friend's house and they'll be
Yeah.
like, Mama, I really want that. Can you buy that for me? And my first attempt is that, you know what, why don't you just go to that friend's house and play with it? You don't need
Yeah.
to, right? If you really want to play with it, you go and play with that friends, and then you can share it and play over there. So that is one way how I deal with it. Then sometimes when it goes really, really like, Mama, I really want this, I need to have it, and it's gone on for like a few months, then I'm like, okay, you know what, you really want this, I'll get it for you. And then it's my responsibility to make sure that it's disposed of properly, whether it's the packaging or whenever the life is over for that toy, because what happens with these toys, they don't last really long, right?
Yeah.
So then that becomes my responsibility, and I share that with my children, and I tell them that, you know what, once this toy is not working anymore, if it breaks, this is how to you have to this is how you have to recycle it.
Nice catching up.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Bye.
For parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kids Talk Press now.